Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Dan Jurgens, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Look! Up in the sky! What is it? It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's a electric mullet. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Electric Mullet, one of the Superman podcasts. I am Phil. Joining me this time, again, it is Superman's number one fan.
Tyler from the Krypton Report.
That's right. I don't want to say like Superman, but he's on 2 Superman podcasts.
Yeah. Sadly, we should not get the other. We try. We won't forget him.
That's who?
James.
Yeah,
James. Mr. James Cole.
Mr. James Cole. All right, so yes, we're here. Another big storyline this time. Something that's going to have ramifications for Superman going forward from this point for a long while. Yes, I'm talking about this.
This was definitely. I remember, I haven't read this in a long time, or if I've ever read it directly, but I knew this story. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, when we were doing this, and I was like, okay. There's a lot to talk about, guys. Like this, last week we're like, oh yeah, this issue, yes, this issue. This one I'm like, okay, this is a lot, some dense stuff.
Oh yeah, it's like last time. Oh yeah, Superman Doom Patrol punched Metallo in the face. Yeah, this time there's a lot going on. It's going to have like I said, big effect on Superman. Because yes, we are doing the Supergirl Saga, which I believe may be the last John Byrne Superman story.
Okay.
If not, it's coming up, but I'm pretty sure this might be the last one. All right, so should we dive into the first one? Because as you said, Tyler, it is dense, this story. So.
Yeah, I just want to throw something out. Like, sure. I find it weird on the app. Like, if you go to pull it up, it goes Superman 16, 17, 19, 20, annual, Superman 18.
They're kind of out of order, yeah.
Yeah, it threw me for a loop, and I was like, wait, what? Where?
I know, because at first I was like, wait a minute, I knew they were here, and then I was like, oh yeah, they're out of order.
So, all right.
Because I'd seen that on my phone before, and I thought maybe it's just for the phone. But yeah, I was on my iPad. I was like, okay, it's doing it here too.
Yeah, so I was trying to figure out like what happened. But yeah, let's do this.
All right, hold on. And while I do synopses, since these do have synopses, I want to throw up pictures of the covers too, because we do have some nice covers here too. There we go. All right, so yes, we're gonna start with Superman number 21. There we go. All right, so we got Superman number 21. All right, so from September 1988, You Can't Go Home Again. Writer and penciler John Byrne, inker John Beatty, colorist Petra Skodish, letterer John Costanza, and editor Mike Carlin and Renee Witterstatter. All right, so yes, like I said, it's the first part of the Supergirl saga. As people in battlesuits watch while a beleaguered high-tech fortress on a devastated world, Superman finds himself being followed, but can't seem to find the person following him until he picks up their heartbeat, indicating a female. And yes, kids, this is Superman leaving. He's just left the battle with the Doom Patrol, so we're picking up right where we left off last time.
Mm-hmm.
Superman catches the person from behind and is surprised to find a young blonde-haired woman wearing a version of his Superman costume. The woman identifies herself as Supergirl and surprises Superman again by transforming herself into the red-haired likeness of his Smallville sweetheart, Lana Lang, saying she got her powers from Lex Luthor. So, yeah, we're getting convoluted already here, kids. Lex Luthor. This leads to a confusing situation between the two where Supergirl blasts Superman away with a telekinetic blast and then makes herself invisible before attacking Superman again, this time knocking him into the ground. Superman then burrows his way to Lana's house in Smallville, where he finds his parents and Lana all tied up in the cellar by a woman matching Supergirl's description. Superman realizes something about this Supergirl claiming to be Lana and gets her to meet the Lex Luthor he knows, who upon seeing her thinks she's Superman's sister. Supergirl doesn't recognize him, though, which leads Superman to believe that she came from the same pocket universe dimension that he visited earlier. Scroll down, kids. The one that Superboy from the Legion of Superheroes came from. As he tells her this, a teleportation field surrounds them both. Supergirl tells Superman not to worry, that he's simply being transported from his world into the pocket universe. It is there that Superman meets its Lex Luthor, the red-haired man in the battle suit that we saw at the beginning of this, who greets him by saying, "Welcome to the end of the world." All right, thoughts, Tyler?
Thoughts? Jeez.
I know. They packed a lot in here. It's like, oh yeah, there's a Supergirl, and then
So, my first thought was, I love how you slipped it in there.
Ew.
Lana Lang, the redhead, who is, because like I kept looking at this right. Wait, hold on. Sorry to glare. This, I'm like looking at it like in detail. Like, is one supposed to be Lana and one Supergirl? Because there's like subtle differences, and I'm like, okay, so going back to the issue we did last week, where okay, that was Lana in a way.
Yeah,
because she was taking Lana's form, but for some reason Lana's a blonde in this and Lois is a redhead, and it's so confusing. Yeah. Like, seriously. So like this, and I guess I never knew that in the Matrix era that she was supposed to resemble Lana, and I'm kind of curious if that's what it's supposed to stay like as we go through this whole.
We'll get to it towards the end of this thing, but I mean, yeah, it's first it's like, oh, it is Lana from the Pocket Universe, then it's like, no, it's not, and after this story, they kind of never mentioned that again, I don't think,
and that's why I think I don't ever remember, two and two together, because like I said, that one panel is so slightly different that it's like, is it two different like faces, and the way she talks, and I'm like.
I'm thinking that was a John Byrne thing, because that never really gets mentioned again.
And then like he figures it out, like, and I knew but kind of had forgotten about the Pocket Universe, because I was like, is he referring to Crisis? Because there's some things I feel like there's residual knowledge of the Crisis happening, and since Supergirl died in Crisis.
No, I guess it was just a guess. Remember the story we did with Connor? Yeah, no, it was, yeah.
So it was just the pocket dimension. I was like, oh, okay, all right. The pocket dimension there, the little loophole of how to have your cake and eat it too, of not having any other Kryptonians, but yet having other Kryptonians. So
yeah,
I just found this this first issue. I'm like completely confused about the Lana thing, the pocket dimension, because I kept thinking I thought this was the Matrix, and I was like, okay. All right, just going with it. Then they're like, oh, the Legion, the Time Trapper. Okay, I remember. And then I was like, what is going on? So, because I feel like this image of Supergirl gets used a lot. This era is like artwork, but, and like promo stuff. But this really isn't Kara Supergirl.
Yeah,
so it's weird.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? For like a few years here, we had a Supergirl who was not Kryptonian and her powers really weren't the same as Superman's.
Yeah, it was always one of those things I was kind of like, huh? Because, like, of course, as we get farther into this, because she's around during the death of Superman and all that, and it's just like, and we'll get there eventually, and I have things to say about that.
I'm sure you did.
It'll be interesting to really just read straight into that. But yeah, it was weird. This issue was cool, but it was like, the little history lesson about the Legion, the Time Trapper, and then it ends like, this is Lex Luthor. And I'm like, okay, in his He-Man looking uniform.
Oh yeah, the armor they're wearing, yeah. And a lot of this, I didn't pull the floppies out. I'm like, oh yeah, I think they did that. A lot of like double page spreads on, not spreads, but like kind of like double page, where the panels go from one page to the next. Yeah,
like there's one thing right here just to remind us that we're in a Superman comic. 4 panels, the planet, Perry, Jimmy, and Lois with her red hair, then Jimmy and Perry. That's it.
Oh yeah, because then we're setting up the Silver Banshee story for number 23. Yeah, because
yeah. So I mean, there's like a lot in this issue that was just more like when Clark finds Lana and his parents, and he's like, 2 Lanas, a Superman costume, of course. And there's just a lot of like, what's going on? Where she's like, what's going on? What's his game? I don't pass anything near Kryptonian speed. And I'm just like, all right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Then we get, Lex here, and it was all like really interesting setup. But yeah, the 2-page spread thing was interesting.
Yes, we also only got four panels of Lex also, just like the planet. Yeah, it's so weird. Like this one, like this issue's a lot of setup, and then the second issue is going to be a lot of, this is what happened. This is what has happened to the Pocket Universe, and 3 kind of like wraps it up real quick. I'm like, man, they could have squeezed like a 4th issue out of this.
They could have, because they could have spaced it out and had like, I like things being balanced. Okay, a little symmetry.
Yeah, like
so, a 2 issue, a 4 issue, cool. 3 issues just feels, especially if this is supposed to be a mystery.
And you got 2 books too. You could do 2 issues of Superman and 2 issues of action or adventures. Yeah.
So if you're supposed to be building a mystery about who this is, I feel like it would have been if you would have done 1 issue. Because like the cover says, "Oh no, not you." Well, who's he implying? Because I kept thinking back, did he remember anything like? Before the crisis.
I think that was just a big tease on the cover. It's like, oh, did they bring Supergirl back already? Pre-crisis Supergirl back already? And it's like, no.
So I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah, it's false advertising.
And then the next issue, the Adventures, the cover is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Hey, and I do want to throw out this. This is issue 444, September of '88. Mm-hmm. That is the month and year of my brother's birth. So,
oh, nice.
Throwing it out there to Zach.
Nice.
You came into the world as Supergirl came back. Good job, bro.
Yeah, man. Check it out. All right. We ready for that one?
Yeah, let's do it. Because I feel like we need all this filler to get to like more discussion.
Oh, yeah. All right. There it is. All right. Now let's give me a second to open this up. All right. So Adventures of Superman 444 from September 1988. Parallel lives meet at infinity. Writer John Byrne, penciler Jerry Ordway, inker Dennis Jank, colorist Petra Scotty, letterer Albert de Guzman, and editor Mike Carlin. Alright, so this is part 2. Superman mourns at the loss of Superboy's adopted parents and learns about the sad state the Pocket Universe Earth is in following Superboy's disappearance from its reality. As told by its Lex Luthor, he was trying to find out where Superboy had disappeared to by using his equipment in Superboy's secret lab when he accidentally stumbled upon the 3 Phantom Zone criminals, General Zod, Zora, and Quxel, who claimed to be innocent survivors of the destruction of Krypton and let them loose from their prison. Destroying both the lab and the Phantom Zone projector, the Phantom Zone criminals went on a destructive rampage against the whole world, claiming to be its rulers and killing anyone that got in their way. Lex Luthor formed the Resistance Group and even gave Lana Lang powers similar to Superman, but it only resulted in the Phantom Zone criminals going so far as to destroy the Earth by burning away its atmosphere, killing everyone except those in Luthor's Smallville Citadel. Learning the existence of the main New Earth universe, Luthor sent Supergirl across the dimensional barrier, blanking her memory but planting in her mind a compulsion to go to Smallville in order to contact Superman. Superman, at this point, vows to join the Resistance Force to put an end to the Phantom Zone criminals' reign of terror on this world. Yeah, that didn't even cover half of it. All right, thoughts?
Yeah. So this first thing I want to say is with this issue, it points out one of the problems that DC Comics has had with certain characters. First of all, they've never really given General Zod his own symbol. Every time we see Zod, like in live action and in the comics, it's always been slightly different for his own family symbol or crest. Mm-hmm. And then this Zod, is the most plain Jane, weird, normal clothes, non-Kryptonian looking policeman Zod.
It looks like that's like the very generic either military or police outfit. Yeah,
he looks like a pissed off postal service man.
Zod's going postal.
And this is the same style of Zod that we would see in the Ruby Spears cartoon series. 'Cause that would be the same time as this book about. So yeah, like that, like was frustrating because like that doesn't even look like Zod, but this is Zod, and to think like this came after, we had the film, and then we have a new name of, was it Zaora?
Yeah.
And I'm like, great. I didn't even think about her when I did my whole discussion of Feora versus Ursa, how those two characters always get interchanged and are looked at as the same, but they're two different characters, and how it was actually the Ruby Spears cartoon is the only cartoon or any media that has both of them together in one episode. So that was something to bring up, But I felt like this issue was interesting. It was a lot of like, hey, this is what happened. Like, let's retell you about the Time Trapper.
Yeah.
If you didn't read those stories, this is what we were doing. This is what the Time Trapper did. How Krypton, the Earth evolved. And then there is a lot of time with the introduction of Lex Luthor in Smallville.
Oh, yeah.
And just all these, like, I mean, the way this is broken down into so many small...
Oh, yeah, a lot of 2 pages again. Yeah, going from one page to the next. Yeah.
And then how he found the Phantom Zone projector and released them. And, I mean, it's basically almost the entire book.
That's why I'm almost wondering if this was going to be at least in one more issue. That's why they're cramming so many panels into each issue.
Because, I mean, just flipping through this book, like, the whole book is, like you said, exposition. The whole issue, it starts with them at the graves of Jonathan and Martha Kent, and then they talk about how their world basically was destroyed, and everything's just them telling us.
Yeah, because again, it's when the Time Trapper created this world, there were no other superheroes. It was just Superboy. So, and then after we last saw the Pocket Universe, we know Superboy went to the future and died. So nobody knows what happened to him basically back home.
And then we talks about he's erasing Lana's memories so that if she gets caught, they would, there'd be a trigger that would bring her memories back to her. But they messed up the time, so she arrived early, at least 200 years.
That is so funny. He's like, oh no, he meant to send her back at like 200 years. He's like, oh yeah, figuring Superman with his time travel ability would have many chances to find her. And he's like, nah, that's where you messed up. I can't time travel under my own power like Superboy could.
Yeah, it's really just extremely convoluted for no reason, honestly. That's why I'm not a huge fan of the whole pocket dimension thing, because it's just...
Yeah, that's why I wondered if they switched plans, maybe because Byrne was leaving, because I was like, the whole sending her back in time 200 years seemed like a unnecessary plot thing. And
does she fight like in the Revolutionary War and help America win that we never knew about? That's a story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then like it ends where he's like, it's time Zod and his murdering crew were made to pay in full for their actions.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They're like, Zod and his crew and his 2 lackeys were like trying to take over the world. Humanity fought against them. So all 3 of them basically tunneled to the center of the earth and, released all the magma and everything. And it basically not only fried the atmosphere, but it boiled the seas.
And that's where I'm just kind of like, it's like, it is comics, but at the same time, like, show, don't tell still.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind some exposition telling me, but you're laying on, and I say all that because of the next issue and what happens. Like, we need that emotional resonance. I can't say, to resonate with us, because we need to feel it, because he's like 5 billion humans, billions upon billions of life forms have perished, but I don't feel it. I don't want to say I missed it, but it just the way they kind of quickly just... Yeah,
they're kind of rushing it, yeah.
Yeah, and so, Zod and his people, they went to the core and killed everybody. Moving on.
Basically every human, every animal, every living thing on the earth except for anyone in Smallville, because Lex had like this force field up, so...
So I just felt like, oh, wait, what? Like, it's so I've been rewatching a lot of Star Wars, me and Jania have. And I said, the one thing in Star Wars Episode 7, spoiler for like a 10-year-old movie almost, was they never really touched on was the fact that Kylo Ren blew up multiple planets and completely destroyed the entire inner all the planets of the Republic, so there was no more Republic. Like, he destroyed Coruscant and all the core planets, and it was kind of like brushed over. You know, how big of a deal was it when they blew up Alderaan?
Yeah.
And here we blew up multiple planets that were responsible for the galaxy's government. And we just kind of like glanced over it and just,
This guy killed 1 trillion people. Moving on.
Yeah, like, he just destroyed world after world after world. And, but we're just, we're not going to touch on the next planet how there is a huge destabilization of government because all the people who ruled, all those senators, all the representatives were all destroyed and murdered. But, but that's how I felt like with this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I wonder if there was plans to do this longer or what. And again, I know we need it for the story, but it seems kind of naive and stupid of Lex that, when Zod comes on the screen and he's like, oh yeah, help us get out of the Phantom Zone. We'll be Earth's protectors now that Superboy's gone. Meanwhile, Superboy had the Phantom Zone projector basically in this safe that it's like if you opened it the wrong way, it was going to blow up and destroy the Phantom Zone projector. It should have told Lex something, that Superboy had.
Yeah, I get, like,
where it's like he didn't want anyone touching that Phantom Zone projector. It's
supposed to be a good Lex Luthor, okay? All right? Good Lex Luthor. Fine with that. I can buy that. Not a problem. But it's still the way they did it made me feel kind of like, I don't know what's going on because it felt a little off. Like he was up to something. Like he was scheming. The way he was like, all right, you two leave and leave me in here to deal with this. I don't want anything to happen to you.
Yeah, I just
kept feeling like,
I don't think he's evil. I think it's the ego is still there. That it's like, oh yeah, I'll contact Superboy, or if not, and if he's not around, I'll find a way. Which the Earth really didn't need saved at this point. So, but I don't know why he was all gung. He wanted to make the big discovery, and I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just kind of felt like there was something still up because, like, and we'll talk about it more with the next issue. But
because if the idiot if he hadn't released the Phantom Zone criminals, this would have been a normal world, like our real world. There was no other any superheroes around. I don't think there's any supervillains was there. So it's like this world would have continued on as a completely normal world.
Maybe we're in a pocket universe, Phil.
And he said I forget if it's this issue. It's one of them where he says, "Oh yeah, I kind of figured out that our world was like artificial and wasn't what it lesser than like any other world." But it's like, okay, could figure that out, but he couldn't figure out that maybe these alien beings locked in the Phantom Zone were dangerous. No, you didn't stop to ask yourself that question. Especially when Zod slipped up. First he was calling it the Survivor Zone, then he slipped up and said the Phantom Zone. He's like, wait, what? No, that's what my wife calls it. No.
Yeah, that's just what my wife calls it. That's a good one. Yeah. I'm going to talk like Justin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's all me, right. Your old pal, the Owl.
The Owl Man.
Yes, he should be back next episode because, yes, he does want to talk Silver Banshee. So.
I feel like we should just do an issue of... just like boom, we're doing what do you call it? We're doing Watchmen just so we can talk about Owlman because you're here, Justin.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do a one shot somewhere. Yeah,
look, we want to do the good Owlman, not the bad Owlman. So like, here you go, buddy.
So I mean that's pretty much But I love in the Resistance. Yes, we have non-superhero Bruce Wayne, Oliver Queen, and Hal Jordan, who no one's a superhero because the Time Trapper erased all that, made sure that did not happen.
The Time Trapper,
and again, it was all for the Superboy thing because they even mentioned they're like, the Time Trapper just like kind of lost the Time Trapper lost all interest in this place after Superboy died.
I wonder why. Maybe that'll come up some other time later.
You know what? It's so funny because God, was it last year or the year before? Will and I did fill in when Lilith was away a Legion story and the Legion of Superheroes because I hadn't read it before. And I guess sometime in the 30th century, like they need what is it? They need some kind of planet to they need it for a Sun Eater or something. But yeah, they basically dock into this pocket universe and take the dead Earth and use it. I was like, damn, I never knew that.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like, hey, remember this, guys? It's a deep cut. We can get rid of it. You never have to talk about it.
It's basically just a dead rock at this point. It's like, all right. Should we do the last one so we can talk this whole thing out?
Yes.
All right.
Christ.
right, I got to. Where's one? There we go. All right, so here's the cover. It's going to kind of be a spoiler here.
Psych.
Yes, psych. You know what happened? No. All right, so
it's a weird cover. That's all I'm gonna say.
It is, and that's the other thing. That's like it's like part 1 and part 2 said. The Supergirl Saga at the part 1 or part 2 at the top. Not on this cover.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, so if I was that's why, like, I didn't realize that this, like, so when I was reading the books, I read the first one. Okay, I read Superman 21, and then this one came up, and I was like, oh, we're reading this one, but is it connected to the story? Because I was like, and even like when you open it up, it doesn't say, the Supergirl Saga part 3, but it is like, this is the crucial part. So
I know
they done messed up.
I know. All right, Superman 22 from October 1988. The price. All right, like going out with a bang here. Writer, penciler, and inker John Byrne. Colorist Petra Skodish, letterer John Costanza, and editor Mike Carlin and Renee Witterstatter.
He wanted to know that that this was a Byrne book.
Oh yeah, you could tell he was down for this. Yeah. Superman, along with Supergirl, Lex Luthor, and his resistance team, confront the 3 Phantom Zone criminals as they engage in a battle that results in great disaster. The Smallville Citadel is destroyed. All of Luthor's team members are killed, and Supergirl is surprisingly melted. Lex Luthor secretly tells Superman to head towards Superboy's underground lab while he tends to distracting the Phantom Zone criminals. As the Man of Steel heads there, Quetzal goes after him and pummels him into the ground, his strength obviously greater than Superman's. Upon reaching the underground lab, Superman finds a hidden lead canister that contains the gold kryptonite and exposes Quetzal to it. Turning the underground lab into a prison and hiding the gold kryptonite samples, Superman also depowers General Zod and Zaora and captures them, letting them languish while he goes to find Lex Luthor, who is now mortally injured. Before passing away, Luthor reveals to Superman 2 things. One, that Supergirl was really a protoplasmic matrix that he brought to life, given powers and the memories of Lana Lang, who was killed. And 2, he failed to use the gold kryptonite due to the same kind of pride issue that his New Earth universe counterpart has with Superman, as he wanted the destruction of the Phantom Zone criminals to be by his own hand. Luthor makes Superman swear that he will not let the same disaster that befell his world take place on his own, and so faced with a difficult decision on what to do with 3 depowered evil Kryptonians who committed genocide on a global scale, he chooses to execute them by fatal exposure to green kryptonite, watching sadly as all 3 of them fall. After burying their bodies, Superman brings the melted Supergirl back to his own universe to be put in the care of his adopted parents while he goes off to contemplate over what he has done. All right, so yeah, that's like I said, heavy issue here.
Okay, where do we start? First of all, we'll start.
Well, again, we kind of rushed to the last battle very quickly and get through it pretty quickly here.
Well, I was going to say, like, first of all, I love when he says, this person doesn't have. Hold on, I'm gonna quote it. What's this? Another Earth fool has adopted the costume of Superboy.
Oh yeah.
Do not waste your puny powers on me, human like Supergirl. You're no match for a true Kryptonian. Well, you've got it wrong on a couple of points there, Quetzal. I'm not a native Earthling. This is my costume, not Superboy's. And as for the powers, boom. And then we have Great Krypton. This newcomer may be as powerful as we are, Zaora. The Zaora thing's gonna drive me crazy. But, and they have yellow heat vision because they use heat vision on Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne,
yeah.
And it's when Supergirl goes to save Bruce that she gets hit by 2 counts of heat vision and burns up.
Mm-hmm.
And, Superman yells, Lana. And this is where Lex is, hold on.
And again, I know the Kryptonians of this universe are more powerful than our Superman, but it's he should be feeling a little stronger here, though, too, with no atmosphere. I mean, he should be getting some unfiltered yellow sun here.
And he says, the protomatter will regenerate itself soon enough. Protomatter, what are you talking about, Lex? And he's like, look, basically I was like, I'll tell you later. But this made no sense to me, okay? There's Superman, I don't want to risk them hearing our transmission. use your X-ray vision to read my lips.
So if
I don't want them to hear what we're saying, but they're going to hear me tell you to read my lips, and they have the exact same X-ray vision that you do.
Yeah.
So they could read my lips as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
I mean,
that
that would have made more sense if he would have been like, yeah, remember that plan B I told you about before we left? Yeah, do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, Phil, quick, hit mute so I can tell you all about our magical plan about, that item. Then hit mute, Phil. But I thought this was interesting how he built the giant cube for him.
Yeah, because the criminals had already trashed the lab when they escaped. So yeah, he just takes the wreckage and forms this big cube, the prison to hold him.
Okay, so let's talk this. He's on another Earth. It's a pocket Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what rules does the pocket dimension play? Because he opens a can of gold kryptonite. Now, every other story I've read with Superman, even on other worlds and planets, kryptonite still affects him the same.
Yeah, but I mean, in the first Pocket Universe story, I know green kryptonite wasn't they pulled the kryptonite thing before, but it didn't affect him, so he knew this kryptonite didn't affect him.
I get, and that's why I'm just kind of like, don't, like, I was trying to remember, because I'm like, he's like, I was trying to think why wasn't the gold affecting him at all, but it has to be some rules with the Pocket Universe, because, other multiverse type stories or whatever, the Pocket Universe is kind of this, it does what you want it to do kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because other times he's traveled to other Earths and like he's been exposed to, it's kind of like with Bizarro. Bizarro, the kryptonite isn't affecting the same, but it still does something to him.
Yeah.
So, and that was kind of my thing, is like he opens the gold K and it takes away his powers here. Okay. So Quetzal and then Zod and Zaora have, their powers removed because of the gold kryptonite. And then everyone on the planet is dead except these three in a box.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it or if you want me to.
Yeah, because, Superman's like, yeah, you got to be punished. You've killed like 5 billion people, not to mention, any animal. He's basically like, there's no. He's like Hitler, and the Holocaust pale in comparison to what you did, and you have to be punished and stuff. And the idiots they're depowered. I mean, and then they're bragging, Superman, we'll eventually get our powers back, and we'll come to your world and just do the same thing. And it's just like, shut up, idiot.
I'm just sitting there thinking, like, I would have left them in the box.
Yeah, well, you know what, Superman would have did that because that would have been even crueler, because they would have starved to death or
Yeah, but he and this he pulls out the green kryptonite and exposes them to that. My first thought is they just were exposed to gold kryptonite. Gold kryptonite is supposed to completely take away their powers and their Kryptonian abilities. And make them human.
Yeah, like in Silver Age stuff. Yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, but I guess here it's different because once again this doesn't affect our Superman. So
but even then I was just kind of like, shouldn't green kryptonite have no effect on them having no powers? But
I mean, it should. And again, I'm like, how painful is like it? If you get killed if a Kryptonian gets killed by kryptonite, I'm like, wouldn't it be more humane for him to like snap their necks or something, or I
mean, heat vision them,
something. But I don't know if I guess they didn't, at this point they didn't want the image of like
it's more passive
Superman
death,
murdering,
just, like, holding, him just kind of opening the kryptonite and like letting it do its thing instead. But he even says judge, jury, and executioner, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, and then Zod's like, no, it wasn't me. These two duped me into it. And then Quetzal's like, I'm going to kill you before the kryptonite kills us.
And then my favorite was hers of like with the, I will show you pleasures
such as you never dreamed.
There's the story that John Byrne really went away. Superman went, whoa, closes the green kryptonite.
Yeah, exactly. That's the story Byrne wanted to tell, the story of the Kryptonian Kama Sutra.
That's why, like, if you really look at it, it says such as you never dreamed, and then the next panel is him with a tear.
Yeah, it's
not the tear you think it is. It's a tear of happiness.
I missed my shot. Oh.
That's his tear of happiness. We don't know what happened in that panel.
Mm-hmm.
We had another in between thing. But yeah, I just
and then he buries them. I'm like, really? You're gonna give like a decent burial to like mass murderers?
So it's one of those things like, the wrestles with Superman killing, and I'm like, he passively killed them in a pocket universe, a pocket version, and then it makes you question what the quality, like, did he consider them real life? Because everyone's already dead. They're all that's left of this world.
And again, they've already threatened. They're like, if we find a way to get our powers back, we're coming for your world, and we're decimating it like we did this one, like the idiots they are. Yeah, well, I mean,
my thing is, there's no atmosphere on the planet, right?
No.
So they have no powers. He could have just opened the box,
pretty much.
And they've been like,
yeah, or like you said, if you leave them in the box, they ain't going anywhere. But yeah, I guess why take the chance? Like,
I mean, could he take the box back to his Earth and put that box in the Phantom Zone?
I don't think he has a Phantom Zone yet. He doesn't.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah, so I don't think he went to bring him anywhere near his universe. Just in case they do get their powers back. And I don't know. Again, it's like they need to be punished for killing 5 billion people, but also too, it's like, if I just leave them hanging here, what if someone comes along and, I don't know, finds a way to give them their powers back? Or I don't know if he knows the rules of gold kryptonite, so it's like, maybe it's only temporary. Who knows? Yeah,
it was weird.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question. Because he picks up Matrix and takes her back to his Earth. How did they? How did they get back? Because wasn't it Lex's machine that brought them?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe the Citadel's still there. I guess, but
I mean, maybe. It's just the one thing like we were talking about, like with the Phantom, is like reading so much Superman, and then reading this, and we're reading it in order, but it's not like an everyday thing.
Yeah.
There's always little details that you start to forget. Of like, okay, wait, does he have his Phantom protection yet? Have we got there yet? Where are we?
Yeah, he doesn't have a fortress yet. He does. Yeah, I don't think he doesn't have a Phantom Zone projector.
So like you were talking about, Matrix is back. So they did draw Lana a little different here. Like her eyes aren't as blue, but her hair's a little darker blonde. It's not as bright, but he has bringing the proto matter. This is Supergirl, Lana. And then, like, the eyes open in the next one. What proto matter? What in the world are you talking about, son? Where you been? I just love it.
But yeah, he's like at the end. He's like, yeah, I'll stay the night. He's like, but yeah, at first I need like a couple minutes alone because I just saw an entire world vaporized and I had to execute 3 mass murders. And
I do like, there was a line earlier I did want to clarify on. Because it comes back up when, I'll say this real quick before we finish. I don't like when they refer to the Kents as Clark's foster parents. That is a big pet peeve of mine. And it was Jimmy in the issue before where he's talking with Lex about his parents passing. There is a big difference between being an adoptive parent and being a foster parent.
Yes.
And as somebody who works in that field and deals with fosters and deals with adoption and deals with placing kids, there is a big difference in that. And I don't like when that term is kind of loosely used because the Kents are Superman's adoptive parents.
Yeah.
They took him in, they raised him as their own. There's a familial bond that they created. He has their last name.
I mean, they've had him since a baby. He's basically their son in every respect, except for genetics.
Fostering is when you're caring for a child for a short period of time.
Yeah.
They don't take your last name. There's the potential of returning them to their parents. So it's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
And that was earlier. And I say that because there's a line where Ma says, son, what is it? You can't hide anything from me. Something's wrong, real wrong. I can tell. That's a mom talking to her child.
Oh, yeah.
He says, yes, but it's something I have to resolve myself, Ma. I'll spend the night, but let me get away for a moment. And then he's like flying at the end.
So yeah, spoilers. I mean, yeah, this is going to weigh on him. And you said that, does he consider them real life? Oh, he considered them real people because it's just going to eat at him for a while, and as we're going to see. and that's kind of what kicks off at, when he leaves the planet in exile. That, and like even I think he even says something about remember that town in South Dakota and stuff, which we're gonna get back to that alien. But
I just feel like had you done this one more issue where you really got him fighting Zod, like if you did this story now, this would definitely be 4 issues, if not 5. Because I need a little bit more of the depth of, yes, Zod destroyed this whole planet, but Superman's got to see it. He's got to feel it to get to, where he is. And I mean, maybe if we had in that issue where they spent so much time catching up, we got a little bit more about reference of Superman's journey when he was in there the first time in the Pocket Universe. So I don't know.
But like I said, this is going to eat at him. And like, I think he doesn't have he didn't have a Phantom Zone or anything to dump him in. And well, they even make a point to say in the issue, like he didn't have the know-how to rebuild that Phantom Zone projector from the Pocket Universe. So he couldn't even use that. And I think it's I forget what issue. There's an upcoming issue where he's even like, I had no alternative. Because it's like, even if I brought them back to my Earth, there's not a court in the world. There's like, we have no laws for, criminals from another universe. There's nothing on the books like that.
See, I'm interested in reading these upcoming issues because I haven't really looked at them in a long time. A lot of these were part of when I was a kid. I was telling this to Solomon the other day. He asked me what the first Superman comic was, and I said I don't really remember because one year for my birthday, my aunt and uncle just got me like a bunch of comics of Batman and Superman. And in that grouping were some of these Exile comics, like the one with Superman number 32. That was one. 33. 34. I remember those books. And like there's some Batman books that I have that I remember, like the first time I learned about Nightwing was in that collection of books.
Nice.
Batman, my favorite character.
So it's just kind of interesting because some of these, I haven't seen in years.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's the lie. This era is so big for me. Yeah, this is like early when I first started reading comics too. Is like this whole Byrne era and going forward here. So, but yeah, like I said, I don't know how.
I don't know how I feel with like Superman killing like his things he's supposed to be. Find another way. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes that's the hardest thing he has to shoulder. When he can't find another way and they're too dangerous to, be alive, that they're hurting people, and Superman does what he thinks is right. So it's an interesting debate to have.
Yeah, I know it stays in continuity for a long time, and then I think around Infinite Crisis or something, there's like a point where I don't know if there's an issue where he's like, it's like a ghost of Zod haunted him or something, and he wakes up and asks Lois, "You ever remember me killing anybody?" And it's just like, oh, okay, did Infinite Crisis change this or something? I don't know, but
I think I remember that because I recently read Infinite Crisis.
Yeah, it was in a Superman or Action issue, like right around that time. So yeah, this kind of stays in continuity at least until like the mid 2000s. So
yeah, sounds about right.
Because you figure, at least as long as Matrix is around, there's always going to be that. Oh yeah, there was a Pocket Universe.
Yeah, and that's why I feel like I didn't remember, because I feel like they start to downplay Matrix in a way, like where she came from, kind of thing.
Because it eventually gets to she was like from this other world, and because again that Pocket Universe, that history is so convoluted. It's just like. Do we have an extra 5 pages to tell new readers where what this Pocket Universe was?
I'm trying to go through. It's an Action Comics issue. It was one of the first times it was in that box of comics I got. That was the first time I was aware of the Matrix, but it was actually in the form of Superman.
Oh yeah.
And I'm trying to remember.
Is it Action 645?
I'm going Yes, it's 644.
Okay. Yes. Because
Superman featured in Action, and it's like
in the shadow. Yeah.
Yes, because I remember being so intrigued by this cover, and like I said, it was in that grouping of comics, and I just remember looking at it, and like I pulled it up right now because it has a little part in it where it's Supergirl, and I might read this issue later just for for Fresher, but then the protoform.
Oh yeah, we're going to get to that because it's like right after Exile and like the Eradicators like form like a mental blink between them. So yeah, at that point, Matrix thinks she's Superman.
Yeah, and it's like a very dark costume. This is just one of those books I just remember so clear and so well.
That one.
Yeah.
Yes. Again, and again, it's a good story, but you got George Perez art, so yeah, it's
the art is so stellar.
Yeah, Roger Stern writing. Yeah.
So yeah, and then Matrix is there during the death of Superman.
Yeah, because like that action issue we just talked about. Yeah, Matrix kind of leaves Earth, and it's like, oh, we ever see Matrix again? Then I believe she returns in Panic in the Sky.
Yeah, so it's a lot of stuff I'm very intrigued to.
Oh yeah, that's
to revisit and dig back into. So yeah.
Yeah, because we're kind of like after Byrne, we're kind of like start to form the creative teams that are kind of going to be around until like the end of the century. Up till like the end of the 90s here. When
does Jurgens officially come into as a writer on the Superman books?
It's coming up here because I think once he gets in here, he's here for years. I'm pretty sure.
Because he's not in action yet.
No, I know he was on the regular Superman book for the longest time.
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when he. I don't know if I don't know if it's by Exile or it might be after, but yeah, he's.
Because when I think of Superman in the 90s, just Dan Jurgens.
Oh yeah, you mentioned the name Dan Jurgens. That's the first thing that pops in my head is Superman.
Because Byrne, I think of we're still at the end of the 80s.
Mm-hmm. And again, we're gonna about to get some Roger Stern Superman. I mean, Roger Stern. I mean, he's written all the heavy Superman, Spider-Man, the Avengers,
Super Spider. That's what I'm talking about.
You know what? I was telling Lilith. I said everyone thought I was insane. But did you see first? I guess Warner's is going to start They're gonna put out like a bundle, like a streaming bundle where you can get like Disney Plus and Max,
Hulu
together.
And Max.
Yeah,
and I'm like, and I'm one of the I said this. I do not like that. Like I have Hulu and I have Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I don't like Hulu stuff being on my Disney Plus app. Like I'm okay with having two different apps.
Yeah,
because I want to go to Disney for Disney product. Yeah. I don't want to see all the stuff from Hulu advertised.
Yeah.
When I'm going to watch Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like them separate.
Yeah.
Like,
but I said years ago, I said, what if Marvel and DC combined? And everyone said, no, that can't happen. That's a monopoly. But again, Disney and Warner's are starting to get the bet on these streaming apps. They're was it by this summer or something? They're reprinting all those Marvel and DC crossovers. So I don't know that I'm calling it now. There's something on the horizon. I think we may start to see at least crossovers again, if not a full integration of these two.
I would not want a full integration because that would be mind blowing.
Oh, you'd have to restart both. You would have from the beginning.
Everything would have to. Now, if you did like a series, much like Ultimate Universe, where what if they, not just like a crossover book or two, but an ongoing series of like, what if these worlds were in the same? It would be very weird
because you'd have to start from the beginning because it'd be weird stuff like, oh, Bruce Wayne and Tony Stark went to school together or something, or
but I found Superman number 29, first one that says Dan Jurgens.
Oh, okay, that is an Exile, so yes, that is Dan Jurgens. That's
January 24th of 89.
That is another good cover too.
So he's on that one, and then he does writing and art, and then he does some just art.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a certain point where he gets on there. I think he's like there are some where he writes in pencils for.
And then it's interesting because then it's like he's not there, and then we have Jerry Ordway and Kurt Swan, and then all of a sudden we have just Jerry Ordway for a while doing both. But good stuff on the horizon.
But yeah, that 29, that is a great cover. I believe it's an homage to a Silver Age, but yeah, that is great. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing.
Oh yeah. And again, this Pocket Universe, execution is going to keep coming up, kids. It's going to take its toll on Superman. It's going to affect, it's going to lead to Exile. It's going to lead to a lot of things, including a new gangbuster. What?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, any other thoughts before we get out of here, Tyler?
Nope.
All right. So, yes, So for those of you on the Krypton Report, watching this on the Krypton Report social media, if you want to check out the Capes and Lunatics, well, you can send us your thoughts on all the Superman stuff we'll be doing or anything else. Hold on. Got the schedule here. Yes, next time Justin should be back because we're going to cover Adventures of Superman 445 and Superman 23 featuring Silver Banshee, another Silver Banshee. So,
which is exciting because I've enjoyed Silver Banshee.
Oh yeah, and then the other episode next month we'll do Adventures 446 and Superman 24 with the return of Rampage.
Nice.
Yeah. So if you are a fan of Krypton Report, you can always send your feedback here. Also, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can always find all the Capes and Lunatics episodes, social media, merchandise. Again, we have new logos, new merchandise. We have a Patreon. We have a Cash App link if anyone wants to be kind and just give us money. But you can find it all at tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. I know it's a long, but it'll be in the show notes of this video when this hits the podcast. So, yes, it is in the show notes. All right, Mr. Tyler Patrick, tell everyone about the other Superman podcast they should be listening to, the Krypton Report.
That's right. The All Things Kryptonian and DC Comics podcast. Check us out. We are on all major podcast platforms. Got some cool things coming in June. May we're kind of catching up, but we're going to do some reading. We decided, just out of interest, we're going to start and read through Superman, just the Superman title right now of the New 52 era. Just kind of reflect back on that whole conundrum of just that character and just kind of read through that book and kind of talk about what worked, what didn't, and that kind of thing. So we're going to kick that off in June.
Oh, nice.
So it'll be kind of neat to kind of compare and contrast as we are reading through, this, and then we're going to read through that to see. That's kind of two big points of change for the character. So,
nice.
I'm tired of knowing everything.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's a burden.
Wow. I feel like those were quick plugs without Justin here. Okay.
Yeah,
because he
Justin,
does everything.
Justin, I almost feel like we should do his plugs for him. Gamma Charge.
I should, yes, Gamma Charge, the strongest Marvel podcast there is. Wolf will kill me. Yeah. So, yes, catch him on Gamma Charge. You can catch him on Predator and Prey, the Ucha podcast.
Gone, the Form of Man.
Oh, yes, the Etrigan podcast. And, of course, his solo podcast, The Lost Library of Legends, where, yes, he tries to find some lesser-known stuff to cover every month. And I know he's been hitting some 90s stuff lately, so.
Going back to the 90s here, bitch.
I thought of that yesterday when we were hiking and the kids took off their, sweatshirts and didn't know what to do with them. I'm like, we're going to go 90s and tie this around your waist.
With the flannels.
And yes, and we showed them that, and that was Justin's little cue there was in my head.
Nice. The 90s. That's what me and Lil always say. You kids don't know how crazy the 90s was.
Yeah, it was like right there. Like we got out of the 80s. We were like on a move.
We got the infancy of the internet and
yeah, just when it was fun to know stuff, and then then it just all went away. Mm-hmm. And the internet took over and ruined everything.
Well, that's like Luca was watching an early episode of Family Guy, and they were talking about Y2K, and I had tried to explain to him what Y2K was. Everyone thought the computers were going to shut down. Why? Well,
it's like Sayla has this thing where she just keeps referring to things as the old 90s.
Oh yeah, again.
And yeah. I'm like, thanks, Sayla.
I mean, again, these kids feel like we're old because not only were we born in a year that starts with a 19, but we were born in the last century, Tyler.
Yeah, I know. And Solomon saw this. I don't know if I told you about this. This comedian talking about a life before Google. He's like, "You guys remember a time before Google?" And Solomon thought it was so hilarious. He's like, "Dad, you know what it was like before Google?" I was like, "Yes, Solomon. We had encyclopedias and books. We weren't cavemen, making fire. We knew stuff.
We had the Dewey Decimal System."
It's just crazy.
I know.
I just want to be like, all right, someone give me your computer. And yeah, this is what it was like, kid. This is what it was like. No,
I know.
Go find some information.
That's what I tried to tell Luke. I'm like, yeah, when I grew up, I had no internet. There was no internet.
I'm just like, yeah, Solomon, good luck.
All right, kids. Thank you for joining us from the Old Men Yell at the Sky podcast. So yes, when we return next month, yes, we will cover Adventures 445 and Superman 23. And yes, we should have Justin with us because yes, Superman 23 is a Silver Banshee. And I know that one, and I know he said he wants to join us for all 3 parts of Exile.
We all know that Justin is everyone's favorite man to team.
What?
We all know that people just tune into the podcast for Justin. He's their
Justin's
favorite.
very popular. You should listen to all the shows, kids. All of them. I don't work with anyone who's not highly trained and very good at this thing. So, all right. So come back next time for Truth, Justice, and the Mullet Way.